What up, everybody? This is Kyle, and you're watching Knockouts and 3 Counts After the Bell, UFC Boston edition. As you can see, Cory's joined me once again. We're going to break down the fights for you guys. Cory, first and foremost, what were some of the things that kind of stuck out to you in the fights? I know you were a big fan of what you saw in the prelims, so let everybody know.
As for super quick rundown of the prelims, just real quick, Boozer looked good in his fight. Pretty much dominated the whole thing. Pretty much won it on leg kicks for the most part, but dominated the fight. Brandon Allen looked really good with his takedowns, and he was trying to do everything he could off his back the whole fight to, progress the fight forward. He did a real good job. As for Costa looked really good as well. Got the knockout. Real impressive in that fight. I would say my number one, though, out of the prelims was Woodson. His boxing looked impressive, man. He really looked like he knew what he was trying to do out there, and not only knew what he was trying to do, but performed on that and really applied a lot of pressure to somebody that was the hometown fighter and got the win unanimously. It was a really good fight.
All right, so now that we're getting to the main card, thank you for the prelim breakdown. For me, man, I really feel like the main card really picked up once you got to Maycee Barber and Robertson. These girls went in there and started banging, but dude, what a fucking performance from Maycee Barber. Maycee Barber put her hands together, mixed it up with her wrestling enough to pin her up against the cage so she couldn't really get her flow going, was popping her shots off, and man, did she knock her fucking block off. What are your...
just real clean with the boxing, real pressuring. That's what I thought was the most impressive part, was not only the ability to really throw the combos and get busy with the hands, but to really pressure forward and also cut her off at the same time with the pressure. That's what I thought was the most impressive part. With Robertson really being known as more of a ground fighter, to not give her the chance to take that fight to where she wanted it.
But to initiate, like she initiated with her own takedown attempts, even if she wasn't fully going to try to take her down. I mean, pinning her against the cage like that and using the wall work, man. I mean, she really just got in, and once she got in and cracked her that first time, I mean, she was hurt.
She landed some clean
bombs, and it looked clean. That's the thing. It wasn't just
it was.
They were well set up. They were nice shots.
But it was, very clean.
So from there, we went to Joe Lauzon and Pierce. Okay, Joe Lauzon.
Welcome back, Joe Lauzon.
Welcome back, Joe Lauzon. I'm a big fan of Joe Lauzon. He really showed something that past guests of the show, Big Don Richard, always harps on, position before submission.
Absolutely.
And, he had that deep body triangle in, had him flatten him out, and just landed some fucking bombs.
What was the opponent's name?
Pierce.
His shoulder was so...
He had him
crucifixed. I mean, it was... But the way that he had his whole... he literally had his whole shoulder...
It looked damn near like a chicken wing. What up, Jen? I see you over here watching. Jen's a regular watcher of the show. For you that don't know, she watches us all the time, BCWA and all that good stuff.
That looked rough on the shoulder, though. That's gonna be feeling rough for the next couple weeks.
I mean, he just did a beautiful job of his control on him, blasted his shit out once he got him on there, and I mean, he really, it was like a pick your poison. I mean, Joe could have submitted him if he wanted to, I would imagine, and the pressure, man, he just blasted him. From here, we went to a fight that I really thought was going to kind of be a better fight.
I mean, it was good.
It was a good fight, but I feel like for
Hardy versus Soli.
So for Ben Sisoli, he was on Ultimate Fighter. He had his fight on the Contender Series, and then you've got Greg Hardy, who's fresh out of the NFL, all those kind of things, and so he's a more natural athlete, and I kind of just thought with Ben Sisoli getting another shot here and getting a chance to come back to the UFC, I thought we were going to see him be a little bit more aggressive, but he just didn't go for it.
That was my biggest problem.
And my biggest thing for Greg Hardy, I mean, one of my biggest critiques with him has been that he doesn't he's a little bit reckless. He goes so hard for the finish in the beginning, gasses out. Granted, he's gotten finishes in a lot of his fights, but I mean, he's showing a little bit more maturity in this fight. He's letting his shots off better. He was picking his shots better. He moved around. He knew when to move. He knew when to engage.
I thought he did a good job. I mean, I thought he could have applied a little more pressure, possibly went for the finish in a couple positions where he did land a couple good ones. What I kept saying, and I felt like was the theme of the night, and what kind of was really the theme of the night, combinations win fights. And I don't feel like he was throwing enough combos. If he would have kept going with a couple combos, especially when he landed a couple of those bombs that he did land on Sasoli, he could have done more.
He could have, but I mean, all in all, I think it's a more mature. I think it's a more. Yeah, I mean, I think it's more of a mature performance. I'm sure his coaches probably wanted him to pick his shots more. And I mean, he hurt Sasoli, but it was never really a point where I'm like, damn, he's about out.
Yeah,
I mean, so it's not like he really had him on, on Dream Street ready to go.
Yeah.
After that, we got to the fight that I was most looking forward to on this card.
I think most people were for the most
Shout
part.
out to the homie Jeremy Stevens. What a fight between him and Yair Rodriguez. I'll be honest, man. Was that the second round that Yair had him hurt?
Bad.
Dude, I thought,
bad.
I mean, I was fully 100% on Heathen's side, and I'm like, dude, he's getting damn close. But it just shows you, once again, why you can never count Jeremy Stevens out of a fight.
Stevens is a dog. But when you get hit with a body kick like that, I mean, for those of you who didn't get to watch the fight, go look it up on YouTube, and I'm sure it'll be up in the next couple days. When that body kick landed, it sounded like you heard it echo through the arena.
And it's not. And for those that don't know, it's not the slap that hurts. It's the one that thumps is the one that hurts. The smack sounds cool and it stings and it sucks, but the ones that really suck are when you hear that thump.
I mean, but it was just he immediately. And props to Yair for those that were watching the fight or do go back and watch it for that matter. He immediately, as soon as he landed the heavy body kick, he followed it up with a leg kick to the lower ankle, like basically the Achilles heel. And as soon as he hit him with that immediately knocked both of his feet out. And that's how he got to that top position, for those that didn't see that.
And then you also had, and then after that, you just seen Jeremy Stevens just come back and start banging, man.
Like, Yair kind of dumped that tank. I mean,
I'm sure he had
that fight could have been stopped
load.
A couple times.
I mean,
not that the ref did a bad job. I'm not saying that
Jeremy did just enough, but I could have saw why you would have done that. But, Jeremy came back and landed shots. And then you go into the third round, and then, I would say that even in that round that we were just talking about, where Yair was just, coming back, landing blows, Jeremy came back and made it what I think would have probably been a 10-8 round, made it a 10-9 round.
And I said this immediately following the fight too, I felt like if he would have been a little more pressuring, if he could have got a little more posturing up, and especially his notorious elbows, like if you go back and look at his Emmets fight when he fought Jeremy Emmets, he landed some, or Josh Emmets, I believe.
Josh Emmets.
Yeah, he landed some dirty elbows after he got the knockdown, and if he could have did something like that in the third round, it could have definitely went 10-8, and then you could have been looking at a draw.
Well, third round, man, he just pretty much, what do we got here? Is the main event begin? The fights are already over, brother, man. Jeremy Stevens lost by unanimous decision, but it was dude, it was a hell of a fight. They beat the shit out of each other. If you can, go back on ESPN Plus and watch it. Yeah, man. All in all, I would say a pretty good finish to the card. You had a couple duds, but I would say, once you got from Macy Barber on, it was pretty.
Well, don't forget about the Weidman Reyes fight, the actual.
main event. I was getting there. I was just saying the card as a whole, but
amazing.
You had Weidman versus Reyes, man, and Weidman started the fight. Coming out, had his Weidman. Let's see what they're saying in the comments. Weidman. Yeah, Weidman and Reyes already fought, brother. That's what we're getting ready to talk about. So if you don't want to know what happened, you might want to shut it off. But Weidman came out real good game plan. He tried to take him down, exactly what I think he should have done, and tried to use his wrestling background.
Absolutely.
You know, he's at a new weight class at light heavyweight. And then, you know, you've got Dominic Reyes, who's the young up-and-coming young buck over here. And he came out and light heavyweight right. He managed to get back up and landed some fucking shots on Weidman. He started blasting Chris Weidman. And Chris Weidman
too.
Right, and
it was a step off because Weidman was throwing in with a couple punches. And then all you seen was Reyes use his height advantage, which a lot of tall fighters struggle to do.
Right,
and they don't actually know how to use that. You know, lean in, lean out, and you're seeing it with like the Israel Alasanya's, and you're seeing it with a lot of fighters. But then other fighters don't know how to pull it off yet. And I thought Reyes did a phenomenal job of using that length. Right. Knowing when to be in and out of range for striking.
But that's what I was exactly what I was going to say. It was the crisp boxing. Like, he set that up. That was a set-up shot. He timed it, boom, caught him, and he did a great job of finishing. Because so often you see guys get a nice, quick shot like that, get a flash knockdown, whatever it might be, and then they don't manage to finish. Look what happened with Yair. Yair had him on the ground, had him ready to go, and he let Jeremy Stephens get back up. If you let these guys that have been in the game that long have a chance to get back into a fight, man, you're taking a hell of a risk, man.
Get a 10-8 round and end up with the draw, like I was just saying.
And not only that, I mean, you give, like in the Yair case, I mean, you really have a guy that can knock your block off. Maybe not as much with Weidman, but still, I mean, he could catch you in a submission, he could catch you in a, you know, whatever it might be. I mean, all in all, man, I would say good fights, great finish to the end of it. I mean,
definitely good night of fights.
Had some uppers, downers, but at the end of the day, I thought it was a pretty decent main card.
I feel like main card wise was pretty decent, honestly. If you're looking for action, if you're going back and you just so happen to miss the fight, prelims had more action. Molly McCain's fight, that was an action-packed fight. I definitely expect her to go far in her division. She's looking really good. I believe she's undefeated in the UFC since she came in. If you miss the card, prelims were where it was at. I mean, the main card had quite a few good fights. Don't get me wrong, especially the main and the co-main. But if you want to see the action, the prelims was where it was at for sure.
Well, Cory, thanks for jumping on here with us again, man. Make sure you're watching us every Tuesday night, 9 p.m. We shout out to past guests of the show. This past Tuesday's guest, Sheena Starr. She goes to war with Delaney Owen on pay-per-view tomorrow night. You can get it on Fight TV. You can get it anywhere you watch your pay-per-views. Bare Knuckle FC. You've got Bigfoot Silva versus Gabriel Gonzaga in the main event. You got Charles Felony Bennett, formerly known as Crazy Horse Bennett. That one's going to be a fun one to watch. Be on the lookout next week. Our guest will be Mega Ran. You saw him doing his song Going to the Garden on the way to the MSG show for Ring of Honor in New Japan. The second half of the show, we're breaking down BCWA, which is going down next Saturday at the Copeland Center, Wyandotte, Michigan, on 4th Street. Be there. We're going to be bringing the Fro Gun. That's right, the Fro Gun. D-Ray will be there. Former TNA star, he'll be there too. Big show. You're not going to want to miss this one. Make sure you're following us at KO3CPod on Twitter and Instagram. And on YouTube, you can find all of our episodes at Knockouts and 3 Counts. Subscribe to that shit.
Subscribe. It helps.